In this video, we're going to take a look at some special types of lines. So far we've worked with graphing in slope-intercept form, and then graphing from standard form, and being able to convert that to slope-intercept. Now, the next type of equations we're going to look at are vertical and horizontal lines. Just make sure you put today's date in the top corner. So let's take a look. Let's say I gave you this table of values. If I asked you to graph those points onto a number or onto a graph, let's see what it would look like. So using the graphs that I gave you, tape in one of the graphs. Okay, so if we plotted those points, we have 2 comma negative 3 would be down here, 2 comma negative 1, 2 comma 1, and 2 comma 3. So I can draw a line between these points. So this example that we're looking at would be a vertical line. So a vertical line is written in the form x equals some number, and we're going to say x equals a. And that's where a represents the x-intercept. So a vertical line is a line that goes up and down. And it's written in the form x equals whatever the x-intercept is, and we can even plot it on this graph. It's right there at 2. The equation of this line would be x equals 2, because it's a vertical line just going through 2, and all of the x values are always 2. In contrast, let's compare a graph with the following values. So let's say I asked you to graph these values onto a coordinate plane. So negative 5, 3, negative 2, 3, 0, 3, and 4, comma 3. Let's fix that to be a 3. Okay, so using your graph, let's plot our points. So I've got negative 5, 3, negative 2, 3, 0, 3, and 4, 3. So take a look at this graph. Here we have a horizontal line. And the definition for a horizontal line is when a horizontal line is written in the form y equals a, where a is the y-intercept. So that's the point where the graph is crossing on the y-axis. And the equation for this line, because it's horizontal, is y equals 3. So those are vertical and horizontal lines. They're special because they have different types of equations for their graphs. So let's look at some examples where you have to identify the equation of a horizontal or vertical line, or graph the equation of a horizontal and vertical line. All right, so let's look at some examples. So turn to your page. So the directions are going to be write the equation of the line. And we've got some special equations here. So we're going to take a look and see. So I want you to type in graph A and then graph B. So based on what we just did on the page before, if we wrote the equations of these lines, remember this is vertical. So vertical is when it's going through the x-axis. So that means I'm going to write my equation as x equals whatever the number is that it crosses through, and it crosses through -3 there. So the equation of this line is x equals -3. This line is horizontal. So to write the equation of this line, I look at where it's crossing through the y-axis. That means y equals -4. So if you see straight lines up and down, those are vertical, and that's x equals. And side to side are horizontal, and that's y equals. The last example we'll look at is if I ask you to graph a line. So let's say you graph the equation given. So if I ask you to graph the equation y equals 1 onto this graph, we would draw a line through 1 through the y-axis. And that's graphing with horizontal and vertical lines.